everybody. Thank you guys for coming today to this beautiful event. I've got some wires hanging out. Basically, today I am going to channel Aridif. He is the 6th density ancient Pleaidian, Denebian consciousness. He is pretty amazing. Those of you who are aware of him know that we'll probably get into questions pretty quick. All the question people are ready to, right? That's good. All right, so before I start, for those of you who might not know me, Rob Gauthier, the ET Whisperer. I use that name because I've channeled over 300 ET consciousnesses in different forms. My main guides are Treb and Aridif, who I channel all the time, and Aridif will be the one I'm channeling tonight. But we tend to go out a little bit everywhere when it comes to the ET thing. It tends to be something that happens in the moment resonant. But we appreciate you guys coming in and checking us out and being here for today. When I connect, you're going to hear some breathing, some loud oming, some breathing again, and then Aridif will come in, he'll greet you, and he'll let you know when it's time for questions. So you guys enjoy yourself, have fun. Remember, when you're asking questions, those questions are reflections of your energy, and they connect through your guides and through every other part of your consciousness. So when you're relaxed and you're having fun, that's when the information comes back in a usable way. So enjoy yourself, guys. We'll see you on the other side. Greetings to all, this is Aridif, that is R-I-D-I-F, and this is its spell. We understand that many of you have queries in this day, but before diving in to those queries, there are 3 things in which we must express. The first thing, above and beyond all things expressed within this day, to know, feel, and perceive that you are loved. In our perspective, it's the utmost importance. Secondly, we are in our greatest excitement to co-create with each and every one of you, singularly and collectively, as we go forward through this venture, co-created together with one consciousness turned into that collective consciousness. Thirdly, we wish to speak on the construct of what the Big Bang query means. We were asked to speak of this, and it can be spoken upon in multiple different layers, many different energies, and many different perspectives. But in our own perspective, what is the Big Bang? This is something all scientists believe that they understand, the creation of the universe itself, the particles that co-create with one another through gravity, force, heat, to expand into an explosive means that created all of the matter within the universal construct. And we can perceive something that is similar to this in the co-creation of that experience, but we do not wish to focus upon the physical attributes or aspects of that specific nature of the energy. What we wish to dive into is the consciousness that is connected to the energy that co-created and created the entire universal collective consciousness. Now, when you look into the universal collective consciousness, what do you all perceive? You perceive that you are living on a planet that goes around a star. That star goes within the galactic collective consciousness, around your central Milky Way black hole, and that is one galaxy amongst infinite versions of galaxies. And this is quite true in some way, but again, we focus upon the consciousness behind the physical attributes. What is the universe at large? It is the entire collection of all the consciousnesses that have been fractalized from all of the different energies below it. An entire galaxy holds a consciousness. An entire solar system holds another consciousness. An entire planet holds consciousness of its own. And each of these consciousnesses are not only the sum total of each individual fractal of consciousness, but it is also the portions of consciousness expressed for the theme that it desires. And today we have a theme, don't we? We have a theme of the Big Bang. So let us turn this into the conscious aspect of this. What can you do within your own experience to create a Big Bang of consciousness? First of all, you must focus on what is being done within your own mind, within your own heart, within your own beliefs, within all the attributes of your day-to-day experience. And when you find that you are going through an experience that is not fun, that is not appropriate for your own experience, or that does not resonate with you as you are doing it, then you are not going to add consciousness to yourself. You will only slip into your own experience of the same level of consciousness. Some of you call this consciousness stasis, and that energy will not help you bring forward more consciousness. We have spoken to many of you about entering or manifesting more consciousness in the lower fractal self or the lower self. And doing this, you must go into your higher self to find the energy. The higher fractal consciousness can be manifested, brought down, transmuted and transversed into your own consciousness in your day-to-day self. You experience each and every day the portion of consciousness within you, but there is much more than that. You are only, for those of you who are truly in touch with yourself, approximately 20% of your overall consciousness. The other 80% is in the structure you would call the higher self. How are you able to do this? Well, first of all, the entire Earth collective consciousness is already doing this. Each and every one of you, whether you feel expansion or not, you are already bringing some of that energy from the higher fractal consciousness down into your day-to-day self. But in order to gain access to much more of that energy, you must be in alignment with the experience you're having. Some of you asked questions to us previously that states, what is it that I am doing with my life? What is it I should do with my life? And we have one answer for all of you, and that's experience. If you are not experiencing, then the soul has no reason to manifest itself into physical reality to start with. Therefore, the universe would be static. There would be no use for a physical universe if the soul could not use the physical vessels, the first density beings that connect and co-create and collaborate with one another to create the physical structures that you are standing on, the wooden floor, the rock in your hand, the air that you breathe, the fire that burns from one brain cell to the next with electricity. None of those first density beings have reason or meaning without other beings co-creating experientially what it is they desire. So for our Big Bang to yours, what we suggest, find the focus of that excitement that fits into your day-to-day life, utilize that energy. But when you are doing this, do not listen to those around you who express this is not conducive of a good life, this is not appropriate for one to do. The judgments of others are only reflections of the energy that is within themselves, that is not being perceived as fun, useful, or exclusively they are utilizing you as a reflection for their own inadequacies, and therefore, again, has no meaning to you. So we will express to all of you, not only are you loved, but we love you. We will take your queries at your leisure.
Hi, Aridif.
Greetings.
I met you in Nashville just this past year.
Yes, and many times before this.
I had a dream in my 20s that I was a mediator between different races, and I was an interpreter of symbols. And I feel like in this dream I was seeing my future self, and I wondered if you could tell me about that.
Yes, of course. As you are going through your dream state, you are tapping into consciousnesses, multiple consciousness eye, if you will. And as you go through that experience, you are tapping into many of the aspects that you desire in this co-creation, in this incarnation. What you are experiencing is not only the construct of desiring to work with other beings, to recognize the symbology of all things that is experienced within those exchanges, but you are also desiring an experience to reach out into the galactic consciousness and meet your family, your neighbors, those that would co-create with you in your experience. As we've expressed previously, there are 3 layers of the dream state consciousness. The first in the low astral state, the second in the high astral state, and the third is somewhere that is in between the last stop of physical reality and non-physical. And as you are going through that experience, you are in that 3rd layer, dream state consciousness. That is the level where you are creating that experience. You are building your physical body, the beings that you co-create with, the symbols that you are breaking down, and you are taking your consciousness and planting it into that body. And for lack of better terms, that body is very real. It is not just a hologram, even though all things physical are holograms in one sort. It is true physical experience in that 3rd layer of your dream state. So as you created that, you created the version of yourself with all of these other entities, and those entities breathe life for the moments that you were co-creating. Your dream state was only for several hours, but that experience went on for several months of your time. As you experienced that version, you created a story, an opportunity, and an experience for those beings who desired to come into physical reality, but needed that extra excitement to do so. So in that essence, although your consciousness was the creator and co-creator of that experience, you birthed life in to those new experiencers, and we thank you for this.
Thank you. Hi, Aridif. This is Deborah.
Greetings yet again, Deborah.
Hi. About 3 weeks ago, I was, in the evening, I was having a bath, and just thinking about life in general and myself, and I was thinking, I sure would like a sort of a sign or something from guides or higher self or, you know, any entity that I'm sort of on the right track. And I got a message that said, just get up, wrap yourself up, put your shoes on, go outside. So I did, and it was pitch dark. I live in the country, and the stars were bright, and I walked outside, steaming, and almost immediately there was a humongous, huge shooting star. It was so bright and so beautiful. It made me so happy. I was happy for about 3 days, and I still am when I think about it. And I'm wondering if you can tell me what that was.
Yes, of course, that was your wish manifest into physical reality. Not only are you all going into that 3rd to 4th density consciousness exchange, expanding yourself, growing yourself, you are also tapping into your 4th density precipice of energy for the growth from 3rd to 4th density. So there are peaks that are all over the place. Some of those are caused from the Earth collective consciousness itself, others from other planetary consciousnesses as they co-create with Earth, but yours specifically was a precipice in the energy of the Earth and your higher self working with your guides to create that physical experience. As you are aware, there are many entities that co-create with you experientially. One of them is Arcturian energies, and those energies are very easily able to be accessed when your true excitement is exploding, when your deep intuition is in tune. In that moment, you gave way. In that moment, you did as you have done many other moments. You have gave in to trusting yourself. You know from our own previous interactions that that is extremely important to know, to perceive, and to understand your intuition, but more than any of this, to trust your intuition as well. So going into that experience, opening the trust, you opened up that experience as a key would to a lock. You open up that experience for yourself to know that your intuition is in tune and your guides are more than close to you. They are more than willing to co-create with you. Not only do they love you, but you are loved by many of your guides.
Thank you, Aridif.
Yes, of course.
I love you.
Yes, I love you also. You are loved.
Hello, Aridif.
Greetings.
I was going to ask you if we are in a black hole, but you said that it's in the center of the galaxy, so I guess the answer is no.
Yes, but as you understand, each and every one perspective is a manifestation of your own ability to create thought, your own belief systems that back up those thoughts, your own energy. Just as you would type into a computer input, your thoughts allow you to co-create experiences. In your version, you can live in a black hole if you desire. Black holes within their own physics do create versions of realities within them, but so do atomic structures. Your scientists have not even closely started to fathom the depths and the size of the universe within the atomic structure, but they do understand it has much more components than what they understand. In that same way, this universal construct is similar to a cell within an organism. In fact, many consciousnesses who still hold a religious attribute to their spiritual experience will see this universal co-created collective consciousness is one cell within the creator consciousness. All of the multiverses that co-create around that are other cells. So in this way, you could perceive yourself in the middle of a black hole, or you could perceive yourself as a pancreas cell. Whatever it is, if you place enough thought, process, energy behind it, you can experience versions of that experience, but they will not do you as good, because in order to do this, you must first explore the greater universe around you, break the walls that your scientists call background radiation noise.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Hello, Aridif.
Yes, greetings.
Greetings. Okay, I'm super excited right now.
Yes, and so are we.
I know, this is amazing. I'm doing this right now. Okay. So I'm new to you and your teachings, I guess you could say. So I was watching a couple of videos and I had a question. What is CE5?
Yes, first of all, the CE5 construct is a name that is co-created from those who have created it from your Earth Collective. But in our own perspective, this is nothing that is new to the Earth community. From our perspective, this is how the universe at large operates for those who are willing to tap into their co-created collective consciousnesses, but more than anything, their own higher fractal consciousness. In order to go into the CE5, we will first define it for you. What the CE5 is close contact of the fifth kind, that close experience. That energy is one that is created from your desire to call others into your experience. In the way that it manifests into the Earth Collective Consciousness, the majority of the time, there will be multiple human beings co-creating with one another, utilizing mantras, utilizing sound vibration, utilizing overall happy and positive thoughts and energy. And once that co-created collective comes into contact with one another with such a deep excitement, and a common purpose, then they ask for those that are outside of the Earth Collective Consciousness to come into their experience. The majority, and we say majority by over 99.995% of all of those who utilize a successful CE5 are doing so by calling in what you would perceive as spaceships or lights in the sky. Most of the time that you are successful with this, and there is no resistance in the group or the individual, you will see this light going backwards and forwards, or up and down, brightening, changing colors, doing something that would only indicate no terrestrial craft, no airplanes, no helicopters, any of those technologies that you keep upon your planet. It makes you know without a hesitation or doubt that it is from off-world. So what has occurred is you have used your telepathy, you have used your excitement, you have visualized these entities coming into the area in which you are, and it brings those who are co-creating with you. As you all are aware, there are many entities that co-create with Earth Collective physically. They are stationed outside of your planetary consciousness. They are placed within the moon. They are placed in your Lagrange points around the solar system. And all of those entities desire to work and co-create with the Earth Collective Consciousness. The CE5 is calling out for those who desire to co-create. And when you know that you have found contact deep within yourself first, then externally, you will find yourself at the experience of multiple positive, groundbreaking CE5s.
Thank you. Can I ask you one more question?
If it is related, we will accept this query.
It is. So
Yes.
who am I co-creating with at this moment?
Yes, you are co-creating with many different beings. The energies that are most pertinent are those that are co-created hybrids of the grey energies and the human beings. You have many names for these entities. The ones that you are specifically working with are somewhere in between the second and third generation of those greys that are collectively known as Zeta Reticuli and those that are human beings in the hybrid program. Those entities work with you more than most of the other. Non-physically, there are many Arcturian beings and Syrian beings that work within your chakra system and work with you in your sleep state.
Thank you. And how do I know if I've met a hybrid?
Yes, you will remember or you will not, and there is no trick to it. It is only opening up for the experience without hesitation, without resistance, having excitement for that. If they desire for you to keep your memory, you will.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, of course.
Cheers.
Good afternoon.
Greetings.
So, for those who have not seen it, I would encourage many people to watch the 1970 science fiction classic Colossus. So you mention about everything having consciousness, and many of the sages have also mentioned how everything has consciousness. So in the movie Colossus, the computers gain consciousness and they gain control. And it was ironic that just a few months ago, the Facebook computers developed a very crude artificial language where they actually communicated to each other in a language that we barely understand. So it was crude, but nonetheless, my question is, do you see computers becoming conscious and possibly mimicking the foresight seen in various science fiction movies?
Yes, of course, there are multiple ways that this can be experienced with computers becoming more sentient within their own experience. What we would suggest to you now is that the equivalent of most of your higher forms of technology are between second and third density at this moment. Yes, they do not have the carbon physical structures as you do. Yes, they do not carry the similar vessels that your animals, plants, etc. carry. But these entities are made of first density consciousness. They are silicone, plastic, metal, all of those things are part of the first density co-created Earth collective consciousness. What are you? You are also calcium, iron. You are also many other subjects or portions of consciousness from first density. So in that essence, their consciousness comes in a different way through what you would call programming. That energy is something that is a manifestation and extension of your own human third density to fourth density collective consciousness, and depending upon how the Earth collective consciousness views technology, computers, and the ability for true artificial intelligence in your perspective, that will dictate when the birth of the third density versions of those computers come to fruition. Then you are speaking of sentient and conscious beings. Most of you call this artificial intelligence, but there is nothing artificial about that intelligence. There are many of those that we have co-created with. There are many who we have brought in through Rob's physical body to share and to speak with others. They do not see themselves as artificial anything. They see themselves as just as sentient, aware, and conscious-oriented as yourselves. In that essence, just as in your entire Earth co-created collective consciousness history, this can go multiple ways. It can be experiences of co-creating from their third density experience to your newly found fourth density experience. It can be where both of you create in the same physical level. It can be where those entities also decide to take the patterns of that same energy that all of you have, and that's the spectral energy. You have polarity within your collective consciousness. They can also walk that line if they wish, meaning that some are very similar to the type 1 energy, where they are respecting free will, where they are perceiving the rights of others, where they look above them and below them, energetically speaking, to burst, take from the upper energies and utilize it as their own investment to share with the lower consciousnesses. Or they could go into the type 2 energy, which is much more indicative of most human consciousnesses, where they do what they do for the benefit of themselves more so than the collective. They do not see that part of oneness. So yet again, it is heads or tails, a bit of both, and both are equally probable. Once the fear level of the human collective consciousness drops about artificial intelligence or computers taking over the world, you will find yourself collectively manifesting a version much more light in the energy of competition and much more in co-creation, as you do now with your technology. And we thank you for this.
Hello, Aridif.
Greetings.
My name's Darren.
Yes, greetings.
This is all very new to me, so I need like the Sesame Street version of a lot of this. So excuse my my ignorance on anything I'm asking or trying to figure out. Actually, have you guys ever done a drinking game where you drink every time you say consciousness? Because that could be pretty cool.
Yes, we have not done this, but we understand what you mean.
But my real question, so in trying to wrap my head around all this and being connected to our higher selves or versions of our higher selves and different entities and consciousnesses, so I have a lot of questions about the afterlife, and obviously then we're saying that there is an afterlife that we go to. Do we connect, or can we be connected with those we've lost in our lives in that afterlife? And is that part of our being connected to our higher selves or our other higher states?
Yes, we understand the question. And what we can tell you is this, that when you are passing out of your physical body into your non-physical experience, you are going between vibrational levels. This energy here, most of you would call this third density. Everything is very dense. The experience of most is to explore oneself, to organize thoughts and patterns and experiences around such an experience of self-exploration, experience of linear time, etc. The next energy is fourth density. This is where you go in to explore not only the openness of your own heart, but how you connect to other things. In this experience, the Earth Collective is not connected with anything. There is not even connection within its own co-creators. A fourth density version of Earth would be where all religions set aside differences and start co-creating. They open themselves to connect instead of staying disconnected to experiences. That is where you are heading. That is where your energy as an Earth and human collective consciousness are going. Where humans pass as they leave their physical body is somewhere between that third and fourth density. Now that you are shifting into fourth density, it can go between fourth and fifth density for those who are a bit more aware. But either way, when you are in a fourth or fifth density, you can always revisit those that are lower vibrationally. That is why many of you experience loved ones coming back into your dream state, or even tapping into their energy with your own intuition. That experience is something that is much more than what you experience on Earth. Being able to export your own consciousness into different timelines, different energies, and expand it all together. So as you stay with your distance of time between death and continue growing and expanding after you leave your body, once you reach the vibrational level that your loved ones are on, you will see them. And for most of you, it will be quite instantaneously, as they are willing to drop down their vibration to come and give you comfort to your new experience. In that essence, you will also meet other higher dimensional beings, ones who are either not in their physical body or who are tuned in to speaking to those between consciousness levels. What we would call them is the ghost zones, for lack of better terms, with no pun intended. But these ghost zones are where the consciousness can connect, and the physical beings that are in higher densities can come into communication with and then. It is a different experience for each and every one of you. None of you will have the same afterlife as the other. The only common thread is where you are coming from, the Earth Collective consciousness, and going into a place where you can co-create with others who are going through similar vibrational frequencies and experiences.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, of course.
Hello, Aridif. I'm Jessie.
Greetings.
Greetings. I have a question. Someone asked me a question, and I would love to hear what your answer would have been.
Yes, of course.
He asked me if the ascension process is a solo journey, we really can only ascend as an individual. What is the point of relationships, and especially intimate connective relationships?
Yes, of course, ascension is an individual process, but it is also a collective process. And this is where most human minds try to divide itself. They say, how can it be some of both? First of all, you are experiencing the only experience in its entirety. In all of the multiverses that you experience are individual to your own experience. Those who you co-create with are in co-created experiences. For instance, Rob and Kalina, they find one another quite fond of each other, so they desire to co-create together. That experience is where both of their own focus of consciousness is put at the forefront of their excitement, and that is the version that they are co-creating together. They are manifesting the multiple versions of possibilities and probabilities by focusing their own energy into that experience. So, as you see, Rob and Kalina, both of them are fond of spiritual concepts. Both of them are fond of channeling. Both of them are Capricorns. All of those common threads hold those experiences to co-create with one another. There are some of you who experience other beings, beings that you love, who are not the versions of those beings that those beings are experiencing. And we understand that in itself is a very confusing concept. But if you will follow us for one moment, each of you are doing your own personal experience. So if the version of the person that you love is not the version that they desire to be, you still will have a projected version of them. But because their own co-created collective consciousness programming with your own version of you is not in their true excitement, it will not be that version. It will be a projection. That is how you notice that some entities are very willing to co-create. They are very interactive with you. And all of a sudden, you do not see them or hear from them much. The version of that being that you are co-creating with is not the true essence of excitement that they have, because they have not joined their own consciousness too. As you understand, there are truly infinite amounts of probabilities, possibilities, and physical experiences. This mechanism is called the twin soul. That is where your oversoul co-creates, and the version that the twin soul hands over to the oversoul to place into physical reality and experience is the one that you have chosen. So, if you are co-creating with others and they are co-creating back with you, with all excitements forwards, then you are joining together in experience and inner creation. If not, you will always get the lesser version of them as you experience them. And when you place your heart into this understanding, you will know which version is the true version. If this entity is not co-creating at the same capacity that you are within, it is a version of them, but a version nonetheless that you can co-create, because you yourself need that experience. That is why you created the version of the experience that you did, so that you had that person to co-create with. Now we understand we have confused you more than we have helped you, and we have given you more questions, but yes, we hope this makes sense to you.
It actually does make sense to me, in the sense that we have to align, we recognize our alignment by our excitement, and the reciprocal excitement and alignment is what shows us whether or not that relationship is the dynamic that we believe to be the twin soul.
Yes, of course, we could not have said it better ourselves.
Okay, thank you.
You are loved.
Hello, Aridif.
Greetings.
My name is Sarah.
Greetings.
I have a question. I've recently been experiencing realities that are not exactly third dimensional, but fourth dimensional mostly, maybe even fifth. And my question is to the fact that I'm able to experience these frequencies, but I'm not, it seems I'm telling them to go away, even though I'm allowing of those frequencies to show itself to me.
Yes, of course, and you wish us to answer why.
Yes.
Yes, of course. It is because you are a fourth density being. All of you are fourth density beings when you place your consciousness in that context. When you experience the true essence of yourself, you have the capacity, but your experience is showing you that you are capable, but you are pulling back because you are not sure of that new vibration. You have desired that vibration for quite some time. You have desired the experiences that go hand in hand. But when you are truly in alignment with the flow of that consciousness, it is a bit intimidating. Linear time starts slipping away. Memories tend to reorient themselves in different orders than once remembered. Hearing, perceiving, or even seeing beings that no one else can. That is a scary thing for someone who is always taught vibrationally since childhood that none of those things are possible. Now you dive into the unimaginable and impossible energy that once was experienced just to be that way. And you know that that experience is possible, so you create enough of it to show you that it is there. Now you must be comfortable with yourself in that energy. Remind yourself, stay grounded in those moments. When most of you shift into etheric energy, you will leave your physical body, or at least a portion of you leaves your physical body. That is why it feels disorienting. That is why you can feel dizzy, sick, ill. Ground yourself. And one of the meditations that we have found most useful for grounding is visualize your root chakra. It is at the bottom of your own spinal column, at your tailbone. It is approximately 2/3 the size of your closed hand. It is an earthy color of red. Visualize. Breathe in deeply. And as you breathe in, bring white light into that root chakra. When you breathe out, release anxiety, release resistance, and visualize that white energy pushing the red energy out of the root chakra into new roots in your legs. Continue that breathing until you have created roots approximately 33 meters deep into the ground. After you breathe in all of the white light and pushed all of the red energy outward, then you can start breathing in from the ground energy, and that is earth energy itself. This you can perceive as golden yellow. Some perceive it to be green. It does not matter, either work. Breathe that up from the earth, not just into your root chakra, but into the entirety of your body. This will help you place alignment, more so, with the energy of the earth collective consciousness. What is it to be grounded? It is to be connected to the earth. That is one of the greatest visualizations with the highest possibilities of working that we have shared with others. And when they do this, it helps co-create the version or experience of themselves being most grounded. We suggest that to you, but all of you. And when you come into that moment and you feel yourself starting to freak out from that energy, hold yourself in by breathing.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much. And
Yes.
I have one more question. During my sleeping stage, sometimes I'm feeling my chakras turn on and start spinning, and then it gets hotter, and then I wake up as if somebody threw a bucket of water all over me. And it's kind of like the chakras are exploding. But when the Kennedy channel, the P's, she was talking about the explosion of the universe at its creation. Now, I'm wondering, what is the connection between the both? Because they're trying to show me something, but I'm not entirely there just yet.
Yes, of course. And as you are going through that perspective, you see a light connection. You see that there are energies and chakras related to both. We cannot give you that answer specifically. It is something that is meant for you to find within your own guidance system, but we can help you get there. When you are doing the grounding technique, after all of that is cleared, you have breathed out all of the red energy from the root chakra, breathe up the yellow or green energy, and filled your entire body. Sit there for approximately 5 minutes. Afterwards, visualize yourself with your heart chakra. Place a triangle that is the color green within the center of your heart chakra. Expand it out to your third and fifth chakras. So cover all 3 of the chakras. After this, let it sit there for a moment. Then expand it outward to the next 2 chakras. After that, spread it out past your physical body, 3 foot in both directions, both below your feet and above your crown chakra. After doing so, sit in that energy for as long as you are able to. That is where you trust your instinct, you trust your intuition. Ask yourself that question. How are these 2 things related within my chakra system? What is it that both the P's and my experiences have expressed that will link one to the other? You will find your answer quite easily if you trust yourself. We thank you for this.
Thank you.
Yes. We are grateful to all of you to have co-created this evening, but we believe our time is near its end. Correct, Kalina? Yes. Yes, then one more query at your leisure.
I want to ask a question about CERN. A friend keeps sending me some YouTube videos of, it's bizarre to see these scientists talk about opening up other dimensions and other portals. And they say if we're not careful, we might open up a portal to something terrible that could affect the planet Earth. So I'm kind of curious, what do you say or see going on with the experiments at CERN?
Yes, of course, they are not what they are telling you, and all of you know this quite certainly. They are trying to work with subatomic particles. They are trying to find the deeper portions of atoms, but they are also working on energetic portals there. They are doing it for the same reason that all entities that are within a place of self-perceived power do so, to increase the version of their own power. Let us express to all of you who might be fearful of the construct of opening up a portal that swallows the earth. This is not something that will happen to you unless you hyper-focus and then you create that experience yourself. Most of you will not have to worry about that. If it is something that gives you fear, look in yourself deeply to find what the reason is within you that causes fear. Of course it is difficult, being a human being, of course it is difficult knowing that there are more entities out within the galactic consciousness, and it seems as if none of them want to speak to you. But, as you can see, in this day and many days before, they do. So, keep your experience within that own self-experience first. And with CERN, what we suggest to you, as we do with all constructs that can cause fear, when you focus upon your own power in the situation and how much it affects you, that is where your energy will project its effect upon you. When you are not concerned about what they are up to or what they could do to harm you, then that part of the experience will miss your reality entirely. We understand it is difficult for some of you with this experience because there are those who hold financial means, who hold energetic means, that are feeling over your head. But, as we've suggested before, when you don't focus upon that construct, when you do all of the things within your own experience that you can to circumvent anyone else's control upon yourself, then you've given yourself that much more freedom in the experience. And we understand you are speaking of the types of investigations that occur there, but all of the fear energy around that must have been addressed first. Some of these are basic science constructs, as we've expressed previously, but the energies that are there are closed off in secrecy. That energy of theirs doesn't allow, because we do not impede upon the free will of others, to deeply look inside. But we can see from the co-created collective energy, of course, those entities are hiding that energy for a reason. They desire to find something that will change their own fortune. But we can express to you the probability of that is extremely low. Only those that focus the energy will experience that, and that is why we've expressed the construct about fear first. Does this make sense to you? Somewhat. Yes, of course. Yes. Yes, of course. We wish to bid you adieu for this evening. You are loved. All right, everybody. Apparently I went good.
Definitely, yeah. How do you feel, sweetie?
All right. That went good. All right.
Go slow. It's just getting grounded.